Fullback Mick Williman to kick off. New Zealand playing from our right and the British Isles playing from the left. And what a vital test this is for the British Isles. There's the whistle and the third test is underway. And the first line out of the test, 10 yards outside the Lions' 25. Left wing three-quarter, Tony Steele to throw it. Laidlaw feeds Heroini. Wilson waiting and gets the fair catch. Six yards inside the Lions' 25. And left foot for touch.
One of the early faults that were apparent in the British Isles tour was the lack of tight line-out play, and it's interesting even in these first two line-outs to see how they have improved on this facet of their play.
First set scrum of the test. Lewis to put the ball in. Kennedy against the New Zealand front row. The crowd gets a tap on the shoulder. There's the tap penalty to Di Watkins. Out to Mike Gibson. Williman's going to have to hurry across. Gathers the ball. And it's in touch. 10-yard mark, British Isles. Dewey Bibb to throw in. Laidlaw. New Zealand controlling it. And finally, Donald Thomas gets a big foot to it.
Very good work there by the New Zealand scrummaging unit. They pushed the British Isles back about 5 or 6 yards. Whether this is caused by this change, putting Thomas into the front row, we don't know.
Another indecisive line out. 9 yards into the Lions' half. Half the first spell gone. And Smith to throw it. Heroini McRae to Heroini again. 2-1, it's in front of him. Steele has it. Touch on the post. Goes to 10 yards outside the 25. Nathan kicks it ahead, but it's gone forward. Set scrum.
Beautifully picked up by Steele on that occasion. As this game progresses, the New Zealand backs are starting to run more and more. The ball is being cleared quicker. The British Isles aren't getting through on top of Laidlaw to upset his passes, and they're moving very well indeed.
Mike Gibson has received a bunt. Campbell Hamilton in there with the St. John's Ambulance Brigade has been looking at Gibson, and it's a bit of the old bleeding nose trouble. And an opportunity to have a look at the statistics. Line-outs, New Zealand 8, British Isles 6, indecisive 11. Scrums favouring New Zealand by the 7-4 with a tight head apiece. Penalties favouring the British Isles by 6-3 rather, with Williman kicking the only points of the match so far, a penalty goal after 19 minutes. And the drizzle has stopped. It's a little brighter now. Gibson still receiving attention. The crowd here probably around about 46 or 47,000. There they are. Overcoats and scarves, umbrellas, programs for hats. It's that sort of day here at Lancaster Park. Lewis to put it in, 10 yards outside his 25. New Zealand controlling this one. Nathan coming away. Slips it to Lahore. He crashes over the 25 by 5 yards. It's 10 yards inside the Lions. 25 now, and they're in trouble if New Zealand can win it. Over the top go New Zealand forward, some 5 yards from the line. And referee Murphy blows for the set scrum. Plenty of fire, Dennis.
Now, this is the whole secret of this game. The teams are fairly evenly balanced. You couldn't say that one side was on top. But when New Zealand start to drive in the forwards, they really looked good. And we saw it then. We saw them drive the British Isles completely off that ball in the scrum. Pushed them well back off it.
Laidlaw's got her in the first to her. There's the pot. Drop out 25. Fly half, David Watkins. The man that New Zealand will remember played for Newport when they beat the All Blacks 63-64 to him. There's Lahore with the ball. Slips it to McRae, goes inside, gets it to Hazlitt. Coming away, Colin Meads. Long pass out here, Steele clapping the pace on. Going to the corner. Crashed in the touch there by Wilson and McFadden. 1 yard from the line.
What tremendous form Colin Meads is in this year, playing better than he ever has. He started that movement then, carrying the ball characteristically in that one hand.
And Tremaine, no. It's a penalty to New Zealand. I think Dennis Young, like myself, a little bit bewildered at the moment, so we didn't pick that at all. I didn't pick it anyway, Dennis.
No, I couldn't pick what that was.
Tremaine looked as though he was about to hurl himself across for the try.
He was held up in the air, whether the whistle had gone at that stage or not, but he didn't seem to be trying very hard to get over the line. Possibly the whistle had gone.
So Willimant kicking from some 8 yards in from touch, just outside the 25 by a yard. There it is. It looks as though it's right on target. New Zealand go further ahead by 6 points to 0. Willimant, his second penalty goal. And there he is, the man from Wellington, who's picked so many fine goals for Wellington, who's been a pretty good fullback for Wellington over the years, and now turning out to be a pretty good fullback for New Zealand. And to those viewers in England who are watching this, well, of course, remember Willimant played some club rugby over there only last winter. There's the kick-off. Long pass to McRae. It's in front of him. He knocks it forward. And as IST Smith tried to clear it, it was charged down. However, they're back for the set scrum. About 1 yard outside the New Zealand 25. Bebb's going to be in this one if they get it on the Lions side. Wilson looks as though he's going to show some interest too. However, it wasn't into the referee's satisfaction.
Thomas is the prop on this side for the Lions, and he's amazed me today. I didn't think he would play as well as this in that position.
There's Di Watkins jinking. He goes past Nathan. He goes past Hirawini and flicks it to Gibson. And Gibson's found a gap. And he's clapping it on. Over the 25 he goes. Infield to Stuart Watkins. He could be in. No, he's held right on the line. It's loose. It's a dive. It's a try to the Lions. And it looks like Campbell Lamerton. Let's see who gets up with it. It's not Campbell Lamerton. I think it's the very popular Lamont. And we notice as we get a close shot of Lamont going back, who's played a lot of fine rugby on this tour for the Lions, it appears that he's wearing shoulder pads. This is interesting because I think it was Dennis in 1959 that there was some problem with shoulder pads, and I think it was even the very same test on the very same ground.
That's quite correct. There was quite a bit of publicity about the types of shoulder pads that New Zealand were wearing at the time. Some of them were like great harnesses coming down as far as the waist, and there were allegations that this was used as a sort of a battering ram when New Zealand forwards went into the rush. Now that was the type of play that we expect of Lions backs. A beautiful run by Gibson.
Well, here's this vital kick by Stuart Wilson. It's no goal, just outside. And that is, in fact, the first try that the British Isles have scored in the series. So back to halfway with New Zealand leading by 6 points to 3. Mackie Hera winning. And there was a man in front.
That shouldn't happen in top rugby. There's no excuse for that.
Pereira is right in centre field. Hooked in the flash to Lewis, reverse pass to David Watkins, dinks past Nathan, kicks one for Dewey Bear, but it's going to go across and into touch. We've seen Watkins on this tour, the twinkling feet on the firm grounds, and he seems to be just as adept in the grounds a little bit soft on top. There's the throw in by Smith, Laidlaw's in a hurry. The far side, 14 yards inside the New Zealand half. IST Smith throwing in for New Zealand. Tap down, this is a dangerous one. New Zealand forwards pouring through. Racing back, this Lewis, and he's into touch 10 yards outside his 25. Tap down to Alan Lewis. To Guy Watkins, a lovely pass too, but it wasn't straight. Control of the New Zealand forward pack. Stuart Wilson gathers 3 yards outside his 25 and makes no mistake with the touch finder. Play on halfway.
The game really is remarkably even. It's both sets of backs have been handling and passing the ball very well, running hard. The forwards, New Zealand slightly on top here, I feel, with that driving play of theirs. But all the same, the Lions doing very well. A great improvement from what we saw 2 tests ago at Dunedin.
And there's a good kick from the boot of Hirawini. 10 yards outside the Lions' 25. Dewey Bear, throw in. Over the top goes Kirkpatrick. Stan Meads and McLeod, they're all there. There goes the line 3 from the King Country, down towards the corner flag. Ken Gray was there, the New Zealand pack. Alan Lewis to put the ball in, 3 yards from the line. Being held in the back this time by Pass. Back to Wilson in goal, he has to hurry and gets it to touch too. 10 yards out from the Lions' goal line. 35 minutes gone, the score's level, and you wouldn't see a better try than that, Jemison.
You'd have to go a long way before you saw a try the equal of that in the test match. Beautiful work. New Zealand got themselves into trouble by spinning the ball. From the earlier movement to this, when the All Blacks were attacking, they missed out the play altogether. The ball got to Rangi, but Rangi couldn't break clear at all. The ball went to the ground, and then we saw some great following up by the Lions, kicking the ball through, keeping the ball in play when it was almost out, and finally David Watkins scoring that wonderful try on the far side.
And much rests on the shoulders and right boot of fullback Wilson as he drives the ball. Scores level. Half-time only some 4 minutes away.
I think this ground has actually improved in this first half. It's not appearing to have any effect on the game at all. They're handling the ball as if it was dry. In fact, the ball is dry. The ground is still a little bit slippery, but it doesn't seem to be adversely affecting it at all in any way.
There's the kick, and the crowd will tell us. It's no goal. The scores, 6 points all. New Zealand's points coming from 2 penalties by Willimant and the Lions, 2 tries, 1 by Lamont, and a try by David Rock. And Mike Gibson kicks off. The second half, the score's leveled at 6 points all. Willimant takes it 4 yards outside his line, comes in field for the better angle and finds touch. Play to 10 yards outside the New Zealand 25. Throwing in Dewey Beck. There he is, TV commentator in Wales. Plays for Swansea. New Zealand driving through, Laidlaw calling for it.
I feel that New Zealand may change their tactics in the second half and try and set up secondary play fairly close to their forwards so that they can get into these rucks and use this ability to drive forward. Both tries that the Lions have scored have been scored directly from drop ball, bad passes by the All Blacks further out in the outside backs.
Knocked on by IST Smith. New Zealand right winger. And a good one for the Lions. If they can win this, everybody will be in. Webb is standing deep. Wilson is standing up. He's going to come in. There might have to be some solid tackling out of the middle of the New Zealand back line if they get this one.
And of course they've got just the men there to do it. Ian McRae, second 5'8", powerful tackler. Rangi, a crash tackler at centre.
And the Lions have got it. Guy Watkins kicks across for Stuart Watkins, his right winger, bouncing in, they were in. Can Watkins get it? He got a good bounce, but he couldn't handle it. And it's in touch, 12 yards inside the New Zealand 25.
Both hookers having a fair lash in there today.
Lewis, dummy reverse pass, Gibson's found the gap, whacks the pace on, out it goes. Can he get the pass away? It's forward. Watkins picks it up, and it was forward.
Had McFadden passed that ball the moment he received it, I feel sure that Watkins would have gone on, but he just held a fraction too long.
Laidlaw kicks, bouncing end over end towards the touchline. Dewey Beck picks it up right on the touchline, goes past IST Smith, kicks ahead. And it's in touch, 5 yards inside the New Zealand 25.
Well, I feel the Lions are getting slightly on top in this match. They're holding New Zealand forwards at the moment. They're throwing everything in.
A lovely pass back to Guy Watkins. There's a drop. It's outside the post. They seem prepared to chance their arm, Dennis, at the moment.
Well, they're 2 tests down. They've got nothing to lose. This is their strength. Always has been the strength with the Lions teams that we've had in New Zealand.
Back here, we need to drop out. Laidlaw gathers and clears.
Thomas bursting through then. Thomas hasn't played for his country Wales yet, and yet he's been one of the finds and one of the stars of this tour.
Down pretty untidily to Laidlaw. The Lions keeping the pressure on, 10 yards inside the New Zealand 25. Dewey Beck to throw in. Right to the back. Taken down by Tremaine. New Zealand driving through, they lose it. Guy Watkins back to the corner. Good one too.
Pass came out to Murphy, but caught him by surprise then.
Midway 25 and goal line in New Zealand territory. Laidlaw clears, almost charged down, but it's in touch.
It was Laidlaw versus Laidlaw at that moment. Laidlaw hooker for Lions, Laidlaw halfback for the All Blacks.
6 yards inside the New Zealand 25. Ian Smith throwing in. Chris Laidlaw calling for it. It's charged down by his counterpart Laidlaw. And driving in the Lions, going again to win this run, they could be dangerous. It's a penalty, New Zealand.
Lions player in front of the ball on the ground. The rules are clear on this, that you must be behind.
Willamette makes no mistake, takes play to 2 yards outside the New Zealand 25. Campbell Lamont in at 3. There's Alan Lewis, badly wanting possession. Stan Meads there for New Zealand. And Lewis gets it, but it wasn't straight.
Well, there was a fullback ready to come into the Lions' back line again, but unfortunately, once again, the ball didn't come clearly from the line-out.
Chris Laidlaw's got it to Hirawini, down the touchline. Valuable yards for New Zealand, 12 yards inside the New Zealand half. Bib to throw in, Stuart Wilson up. On the New Zealand side, Meads to Laidlaw, long pass Hirawini, McRae. Ruggie, Steele, crashed to the ground by Watkins. Penalty New Zealand. Gives Lamont. Lahore calling up fullback Willamette. And no change to the half-time score, 6 points all. Willamette right footing down the touchline. In touch, midway 25 and halfway, Lions territory. What was quite a lengthy siege for New Zealand, we've lifted. Stuart Watkins to throw in. Walker Nathan at the back of the line out for New Zealand. Murphy for the Lions. Colin Meads Laidlaw to Hirawini. Stuart Watkins racing back 5 yards inside his 25. Clears in a hurry as Steele comes down. Hasn't found touch. Laidlaw takes it in front of Willamette. And this is a beautiful kick if it finds a lovely kick. 3 yards from the goal line, British Isles. 10 minutes gone. Second half of the test.
Now, the New Zealand backs have been a little bit stereotyped in their passing. Now, this is an occasion where a trick could be used, and in fact, the forwards are using a trick. But it didn't come off. Well, actually, it was the trick was it was being worked by the Lions and not the British Isles, by the New Zealand team then.
Steele to throw in. Willamette indicating he may be in if they get this one. There's the throw in well to the back. And Willamette's going to be in. Hirawini puts it high in the air in front of the post. Stuart Wilson calls for the fair catch. McLeod standing on the mark. Wilson will kick with the left foot. A good hefty punt. 6 yards outside the Lions 25. Steele throwing in. Held there by Meads. Laidlaw to Hirawini. McRae kicks. On goes the pace by Rungy. Bouncing end over end. Across there, Stuart Wilson runs into touch. Midway, goal line in 25. New Zealand having a turn on attack. Colin Meads at 3, Hazard at 4. There's the long one to the back. McLeod in there looking for it. Meads looking for it. New Zealand forwards going in, rucking hard. They've got it. Hirawini going for a pot, kicks it high in the air over the goal line. Wilson takes it. Down it goes, it's loose. Referee Murphy says 5 yards. And a little New Zealand first 5-8, Mac Hirawini, taking a bump up on his feet. Favouring his left leg, referee Murphy, they're having a look at him. Pat Murphy, North Auckland, This is the second test match in the current test series that referee Murphy has controlled. Dewey Bebb showing some interest. Ian McRae there also, like Campbell Lamerton. Kelvin Tremaine, number 7.
Both back lines are suffering from lack of clean ball from lineouts. We saw it before when the Lions were on attack. We saw it then when New Zealand was on attack. The ball was not taken cleanly, didn't come back to Laidlaw very well, came out to Herawini. He looked as if he was going to pot at one moment, found he couldn't, he was blocked, and then sent that up and under, just over the goal line. And I think that this was the stage that he was hurt. Lines forward following through probably put him to the ground, but he seems to be all right now.
Yes, number 10, Herawini, back into position. Laidlaw to put the ball in. New Zealand on attack, 5 yards from the Lions line. With a good close-up of the scrum. Laidlaw being held in the back. Watch that control by Lahore there. Sorry, Lahore's off. Off the side here, he's out on Laidlaw's right. New Zealand screwing the scrum and bouncing into touch.
After all that good control by the all-back forwards, the ball was tapped out the side and they lost what could have been a dangerous movement had the scrum screwed at that moment, and Laidlaw got the ball and passed out to his captain.
Gray takes it down for New Zealand. Laidlaw's got it this time. Herawini, grabber kicks, this could be dangerous. Wilson flying across there. It's loose, who wants it? It's a dive speculator by Stewart. Watkins, and it's in touch and goal. Carried back there. 5 yards.
New Zealand's ball. Wonderful position to attack from here. I wonder if we'll go the blind or the open.
Willamette looks as though he's going to be in if they get it.
Possibly a winger in too.
And there's everything set for the reverse pass. Herawini's diving. He's held right on the line. Rucking for it. Laidlaw's got it out to Steele. Steele's in for New Zealand. Tony Steele plays his rugby for Canterbury.
When Laidlaw got the ball from that scrum, he passed it to Herawini, who was coming back across the flow of play. Herawini almost got there. In fact, I think he tripped just and fell just short of the line from the resulting ruck. The ball was heeled very quickly by these New Zealand forwards, and the ball was spun out to Steele, who gratefully took it on that wing and then moved around as close as he could behind the posts.
Williman's kick is about 20 yards in from touch. It's on the way. It's no goal. New Zealand have hit the front by 9 points to 6. Brian Lahore over there. Chris Laidlaw, who's receiving some attention. It looks like Mac Herawini. Yes, it's the little New Zealand first 5/8. Mike Campbell Lamerton, number 5, walking across. Norris, number 1 there. A nervous conversation now, Campbell Lamerton and Murphy. Norris going to the sideline to receive some attention. Herawini's okay. Nathan up there, number 6. And time to have a look at the statistics. Line-outs. New Zealand 21, British Isles 11, indecisive 21. Scrums favouring New Zealand by 20 to 10. The tied heads, 2 to New Zealand, 1 to the Lions. Penalties, 8 to New Zealand, 8 to the Lions. Willamette has kicked 2 goals from penalties. The Lions' points coming from tries by Lamont and Watkins, and New Zealand's 9 points made up of 2 penalty goals and a try by Steele.
Norris is getting a rub on the back over there. But he's tough. Plays for Cardiff, for Wales, played against the 1963 and 64 All-Black team, and it would take a steamroller blow to put this man out of the game.
I'm wondering, Dennis Young, whether some of our viewers who will be watching this in both Wales and England will in fact remember you and perhaps say the same thing.
Copy this, look. I'd like to see their wingers looking for work, the blindside winger coming across and moving into the back line.
Back for touch. 1 yard outside the New Zealand 25. Dewey Bebb to throw in. Colin Meads second take. Laidlaw down the touchline. Stuart Wilson across. Into touch. Three yards inside the Lions' half. Meads, strong man. Nathan. McRae gathers it nicely. Could be in trouble. McRae after it inside the 25. Dewey Bebb picked up by Walker Nathan. He's in. Two yards from the corner. There he is, Walker Nathan. Great fan with the French spectators, Dennis, I believe, on the 63-64 tour, which you were on yourself.
Nicknamed the Black Panther after some tremendous displays, especially on Twickenham.
So 20 minutes gone, and New Zealand go further ahead, leading by 12 points to 6, with Williman's attempted conversion still to come.
That was one of those tries that just happened. I doubt very much when Ian McRae kicked the ball, if he thought that a try would result from it. The ball was within a couple of feet of going out at one stage there, but both Lions players overran the ball, and Nathan, of course, is extremely quick in snapping up loose ball. He snapped it up at top and in the corner.
Well, let's watch Williman's kick. It's on its way. And it's 14 points to 6 to New Zealand. Williman, 2 penalty goals, 1 conversion today. And having a good game for New Zealand at fullback as well. Mike Gibson on halfway. And the local fans with a taste of victory. Mike Gibson. There's the kickoff. Colin Meads, my ball.
The crowd certainly chanting. It doesn't quite compare with the singing at Cardiff Arms Park, but the feeling is there, I'm sure.
There's a close-up. Let's watch it. Lewis has got it. Watkins, Gibson, slips it in field to Nick Badger nicely. Puts it high in the air. Smith waiting inside his 25 by 10 yards. It beats everyone into touch.
And there they are again. They're trying things all the time.
10 yards from the New Zealand line. $15 yards now from the New Zealand line. Let's watch the throw. Right to the back, pass with the ball, kicks it high in front of a New Zealand post. It's over the goal line, bouncing towards the dead ball line. Drop out 25.
Lamont was up there very quick, but
Lewis puts the ball in. Laidlaw's around in a flash. Bry Watkins kicks the touch, and he's found it. 5 yards inside the New Zealand half. New Zealand leading by 14 points to 6. Joel Tremaine controlling things this time. Penalty New Zealand. Offside, Hooker Laidlaw. Willamette being called up. Laidlaw to Willamette. Badly directed. Taken by McBride. Campbell Lamberton knocks it on. Gathers the ball. It's crashed to the ground. Set scrum. 11 yards inside the Lions half, almost in centre field. Good one for New Zealand. Can attack on either flank. Laidlaw's put it in. He's got it in a flash. Slips it to McRae, running hard on the left. He's got Smith outside him. Going beautifully. Digging back in field. Fires it to Tremaine. And it goes here to Gray. Flicks it to Walker Nathan. Nathan's going to score it behind the post. And I'm wondering if this takes Dennis Young back to perhaps a London Counties game.
Well, at least playing a blinder of the game today is the Black Panther, Wakanathan. The try originated from that scrum where Heroini moved from this side, the side near the camera, as a dummy, went to the far side, we'll call it the blind side, and McRae reversed the position, took the ball, ran hard, then veered infield and linked up with his forwards who had followed up in the centre, and, well, the result, the triumph of the posts.
Mick Willamette waiting patiently while one of the Lions players receives some attention down here. That's number 13, McFadden, who is in fact the only English cap playing for the Lions today. It won't come any easier than that, and Willamette adds the extra points to make it New Zealand 19, British Isles 6. Tries for New Zealand by Steele and 2 to Wakanathan. 1 conversion by Willamette, who's also kicked 2 penalties. And for the Lions, tries by Lamont and David Watkins. 30 minutes gone. New Zealand leading by 19 points to 6. Gibson to kick off. Ken Gray says, I'll have it. Comes to Chris Laidlaw. Kicks in a hurry. Dewey Bebb takes it on halfway. Referee Murphy brings them back for the set scrum. Now what will the policy be? Wilson being called up from fullback. This is about 5 in from touch. And about 12 yards inside the British Isles, inside the All Blacks hut. It's a long kick for Wilson. Have the assistance of the southwesterly breeze behind them. Ground, as Dennis Young has said earlier, has dried out a lot since play started. Important kick. Won't be a goal. Colin Meads will take it. Hasn't found touch. Over there is Murphy, and it's in touch now. If memory serves me correctly, when the Lions played here in '59, Kelvin Tremaine and Colin Meads played for New Zealand, and I think Murphy played on the side of the scrum for the Lions on that occasion. And from the line out it comes to Lewis. David Watkins, a long pass out to McFadden. On goes the pace by Gibson. Out it comes to Dewey Bebb. He's got to go around a couple of players. He doesn't go around Willamette. Goes back in field. Gibson's crashed to the ground by Nathan, 10 yards from the New Zealand line. Bebb picks it up. Nathan's across there to give him a little bump in the touch. And it's midway goal line and 25. Campbell Lamerton to Lewis. In front of Watkins, taken by Gibson. Changes direction. Goes for touch. Midway 25 and halfway New Zealand territory. Scrum is favouring New Zealand by 23 to 18. Lewis has got this one. David Watkins. This to McFadden. Put by Heroini over halfway. Kelvin Tremaine with the ball at toe. Up to the 10-yard mark. And as it comes back to Stan Meads, referee Murphy blows for the set scrum. The Lions can attack on either flank. Lewis, pass attaches, infield to Lewis. Over the 10-yard mark he goes. Campbell Lamerton knocks the ball on. 5 yards inside the Lions' half. Against Laidlaw. Lewis to Watkins. Over halfway, over the 10-yard mark. Out to Gibson. Changing direction, over the 25. He's got everyone on the wrong foot. Back to David Watkins. Out to Stuart Watkins. Picked up to Hamill Lamberton 3 yards inside the New Zealand 25. Stuart Watkins. It's the pass away taken over there by Lamont. Pass finally in touch with it. 10 yards from the New Zealand line. Some good rugby, Dennis Young.
Yes, but how many times have we seen that? Once again, the final pass, the pass that would gain the points, not being given well.
Yes, fair comment.
This is the story of the match, of course, that the British Isles have used their backs and tried everything they can, but in doing this, they have made mistakes and paid the penalty. New Zealand have just kept up a constant pressure throughout and have won out on top.
Well, there's referee Murphy's whistle for no side, and New Zealand have won the third test to go 3 up in the series by 19 points to 6. For New Zealand, tries by Steele and 2 by Nathan. Mick Willamant kicked 2 conversions, 2 penalty goals and 1 conversion.